The StG has long been a favourite for many players on Battlefield 5. When the game first released with the alpha and the beta, the StG was a weapon that many people believed would be the strongest in the game, and I for one was using it thinking, this is a bit strong, it's pretty much the go-to weapon for anything, and DICE did change a couple of things when the main game came out. That being said, the StG is still one of the most effective weapons in the game, and arguably one of the most versatile in the assault class. In this video, I'm going to be taking a closer look at the StG and working out what it is essentially the best at. Can it be a longer range weapon? Is it for those CQB engagements, or should you be using it for everything? I'll also take a look at the specialisations, explaining what each of them do and which sort of upgrade path you should take in order to make this weapon the most effective it can be. As with other loadout videos, this has a bit of a purpose. I've been using the M1A1 and the AG-M42 in the assault class for quite some time, but I want something that does something fairly similar but is an automatic weapon. This means I can spray enemies down and take on more than one enemy in a clump with that spray down. The StG should provide me with the platform to do that, and in this video I'll go into a bit more detail on how. Before we get into it, here's a bit of history on the StG. The StG-44 is an abbreviation of the Sturmgewehr 44, which essentially means Assault Rifle 44 in German. It's a German selective fire rifle developed during the Second World War, and is also known as the MP43 and MP44. For the sake of Battlefield 5 though, we'll refer to it as the StG or the StG-44. The StG-44 was the first successful assault rifle with features including a relatively short cartridge, controllable automatic fire, and more compact design than a battle rifle with a quicker fire rate, and intended for hitting targets within a few hundred meters. It was incredibly effective, particularly on the Eastern Front, but did come too late to have a large impact on the war. Its influence since then has been extensive, however, as many other assault rifles have been using its design since. The main one that you probably know of is the AK-47, which was influenced heavily by the StG when it comes to its design. Interestingly, the StG was not only used in the Second World War, but also during the Cold War, the Korean War, and the Vietnam War, meaning we will probably see it again if Battlefield ventures into any of those conflicts. Rumour has it that the StG-44 has also seen action during the Iraq War and as recently as the Syrian Civil War. This is a testament to its successful design and the fact that it's just a good all-round assault rifle. We've seen the StG-44 in previous Battlefield games. Well, Battlefield game, it's only been in Battlefield 1942, which means that DICE have an opportunity to bring it back in future Battlefield games, and I think they should, because it's an awesome weapon. In Battlefield 5, the StG-44 is a rank 13 assault class weapon, and is the last assault rifle acquired. The weapon is incredibly versatile, as I mentioned at the start of this video, and for anyone that has used it, you'll know that it can be effective at more than one thing, and it just depends on how you set it up with the specialisations and scopes. With the specialisations, you are left with a few options: aggressive or defensive playstyle. Simply, the left side provides CQC gun handling, while the right side improves accuracy. I personally like going right, 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 and then usually left, but sometimes I'll go on the right hand side, and we'll get into a bit more detail on the specialisations right now. So starting out, you have slings and swivels on the top left. This allows you to switch weapons 15% faster and shoot sooner after sprinting. It's a nice perk, but for me, I feel far more comfortable with the quick aim because I run the 3x scope, and I also don't like to hipfire with this weapon. The quick aim allows you to aim down your weapon sights 33% faster. You could then go for the enhanced grips, allowing hipfire to become more accurate. And from then you'd then have to pick the lightened stock, which allows you to move 60% faster while aiming with your weapon. I'm not a fan of these things, I prefer to go on the right hand side, as that allows me to get the ported barrel, which allows for less horizontal recoil, which is very important, because horizontal recoil is very difficult to control in FPS games, or at least in Battlefield 5, and then you have to go for barrel bedding, which improves the accuracy in aimed fire when stationary, meaning if you're standing still and shooting an enemy that's strafing in the distance or running from right to left, let's say, it's going to be a lot easier hitting them with less horizontal recoil and that improved accuracy. Finally, you can either go for the custom stock, which improves accuracy in aimed fire whilst moving, which is a good complement to that lightened stock, or the recoil buffer, which allows you to have less recoil when firing. I think that one is quite nice, especially if you're using automatic fire at range. However, the recoil isn't too bad in the first place, so you can use the custom stock to get more improved accuracy. That one really depends on what you like. I think they're both quite good. Maybe the left one, the custom stock, is better. Maybe it has the edge, but that's completely up to you. When it comes to the customization of the weapon, I feel as if the StG has quite a nice few things that are purchasable with company coin. I personally like a mixture of the Cinder, Night Owl and Standard skins. You can get the look I've got in the background by copying what I've got. I'll leave it on screen for a few seconds. For me, I prefer to use this weapon at mid-range with the 3x scope. I use a similar playstyle to when I've run with a semi-auto rifle, but ensure I go into full auto mode to rip enemies to shreds. The large mag means you are taking a few enemies down at a time, which is fairly easy to do as well, but you also gain the advantage of a few extra rounds if you're struggling to hit the target. It's incredibly versatile and fits in with many different playstyles on both PC and console. I was actually playing Panzerstorm Grand Operations the other day, and although I don't have gameplay of it in the background, that map is fairly open, and we were the defenders when the attackers, as we were playing airborne, were dropping into that big field with all of the sheds and the farmland there. They were dropping in and I had the StG. I was actually fully autoing people out of the sky as they parachuted down. That's how easy this weapon is to use, and with a couple of headshots, a couple of body shots, you're going to be destroying an enemy player. So a bit more information on the actual specifications of the gun. It's a 600 RPM gun. That's not the quickest in the class, not even close, but it is fairly decent. This allows you as well to concentrate on getting the headshots, as they'll be really important, and with the easy to control recoil, this should be a thing. You can also switch into semi-auto mode, and although it doesn't get anywhere near some of the semi-auto rifles in the game, it is very easy to control those single fire shots. A headshot will get you 50 damage to 34 damage depending on the range. 50 damage is very good, a 2-shot kill makes it pretty awesome. Body shots are going to be 25 to 17 depending on the range, giving you a 4 to 6 bullet kill with body shots. Mid-range is where this gun really excels. As I mentioned before, I like to go for quick aim, ported barrel, barrel bedding, and then finally either improved accuracy when aiming down sight and moving, or less vertical recoil. This is up to you, but that's what I choose to go for with my specializations. So we've been watching this clip in the background for a little bit of time. This is on Twisted Steel, whilst I was playing on Grind, a mode that I really enjoy. I'm running the StG setup as I have described in this video. Now it's a bit of a flank, and I'm going to talk you through what I'm doing here. I'm pushing through, taking out the stragglers that you usually see at the back of a flank. Then you can see me take out a player at range, something you wouldn't be able to do with a Tommy gun, for example. You might be able to, but it'd be a bit more difficult. And then I start engaging targets at this medium range. I'm throwing my grenade in there. Incendiary is perfect for a flank as it will burn players, making them easier to kill. Then I use my explosives. I was running the PAP because I think it's incredibly powerful in the game, and then the grenade rifle because I needed it for an assignment. You can also run the dynamite, an effective choice if you're looking to push aggressively against enemy players. It's also good against vehicles. And now you can see where the StG comes into its own. Look how I can spray down enemies at this longer range while still being effective within around 10 meters. Hip firing is not something I do a lot. I always look to make use of the scope because that 3x is very effective, but you'll be getting these flanks quite easily on various game modes. Now you'll see me struggle a little bit against enemies because this position is difficult whatever weapon you have, but I'm certainly in a better position with the 3x scope than I would be with a 1x scope. I have used the StG with a 1x scope. It is, again, very useful. Not really my cup of tea though. I'm used to it with the 3x, and I think many people will agree that the StG 3x is one of the best combinations on the game. So thanks for watching this episode of my Battlefield Loadout series. If you did enjoy, let me know down below. Leave your comments, your tips, your tricks, strategies, tactics, whatever you want down in the comments. Leave a like if you did enjoy it, and let me know what gun you want me to cover in the future. I have got a list of them and grind gameplay for all of them, as I really recorded quite a lot to make sure this series would have some interesting gameplay in the background. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next episode.